I went first. Martin Corry laid into me. Lewis Moody wasn't kicking me, but I stupidly hit out at Martin Corry, and he literally pulled out his belt and just started whacking me around. It was brutal. And I remember just having the biggest welts on my head.
Hello and welcome to the RugbyPass Offload with Ryan Wilson, Max Leaf, and shortly we'll be joined by the second highest try scorer in Prem history,
number
Tom
2.
Varndell.
Too far, sorry. That was too early. He's not here yet. He can't defend himself.
I love that from Max. Max is, here we go.
No, I was just thinking about Austin Powers, number 2. But it doesn't matter. Fuck it.
Before we unravel an epic weekend of semi-final rugby, both of you fellas had the weekend off. Max, you look like you were doing a bit of a fancy dress night out on Friday. Thank you for the clip.
I was only pumped for the dress up. I was battling because Dan Thomas, a fiend, a reveller, was like, meet at 9:30 at the Spoons. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, nice. Bit of brekkie.
Horrendous. Yeah, I got the brekkie in. Delightful. Great value. But yeah, it was savage, man. And then we're into Cardiff and it was just so messy. Court session, the whole shebang. Yeah, it was good crack. But I was, I did the Batman bomb. I Christian bailed early.
Oh, really? Are you one of them?
No, but I don't know if something was wrong with me. It was too long. I'm getting too old for this, mate.
Max, I hate a bailer. That's one thing I haven't got the ability of doing. I can't bail. I just have to take it too far. And I'm always the one that thinks it's a good idea to keep going until everyone else is gone. And then when everyone else is gone, I'm on my own going, might as well carry on my own for absolutely no reason. I hate it. There's a few of them in there. So Richie Gray, terrible. Smoke bomb. Just gone.
You just know. You know when your number's up. You know.
Nah.
You're not adding anything.
I've never had that.
You've never...
I don't think I've ever smoked one. I don't think I could leave without saying goodbye to everyone as well.
I sort of say goodbye to the people I'm next to and then ta-ta for now, boys.
Max, who was Lord of the Lads that night, though?
AJ McGinty was dressed impeccably as Ali G. He was on flames as well. Once he gets purring, he's one funny fucker to watch and operate. Great crack.
Magnus Bradbury looked as creepy as always.
Bradbury was on flames. He was very good. Very, very good. I'm
guessing there was nothing under that. What was it? Like a monk's outfit? I can only imagine he'd be.
No, that's what we were I was trying to get them off him. Yeah. And on the train, I was like, you got to take those jeans off right now because it's ruining your outfit. I want full kilt vibes.
Yeah.
But he was like, no, I spent too much on these nice trousers. I was like, if they were different trousers, I'd get rid of them. But he was on great form.
And what were you, sorry?
I was Randy Sapp. I was the Macho Man.
Oh.
The least clothes possible, right?
Yeah, standard.
It was basically anything that begun with the first letter of your name. So I was like, yeah, I'm doing that.
Well, give us a player and we'll tell you what he was dressed as.
Dan Thomas.
Dinosaur?
No, that was Diego Bailey. He went as a pumped up Velociraptor rider, but DT went as Darth Vader.
Oh, okay.
Harry Randall.
Harry Randall. Quite a small lad. Harry Potter.
Nailed it. Very good.
Oh, this is quite a good game. Because he's quite small. I can just imagine Harry. Yeah, okay.
Brian Byrne.
Okay. Mark going to have to help me.
A beetle?
Fucking a beetle? Who's going to dress as a fucking beetle?
As in one of the Beatles. Not a fucking dung beetle.
Yeah. I actually assumed you meant like a stag beetle or a dung beetle, but no, you went as Batman.
Yeah, that's more obvious.
Okay, we should probably move on because we could do this all day, couldn't we?
Yeah, okay, let's move on. Ryan, what about you? Did you and the boys prepare for a big European final in the time-honoured fashion?
Yes, we did. It was a quiet one. I'm pretty much transitioning into life after rugby, so I'm working a lot at the moment. I had to do a little work gig on Sunday with First Point USA. Went to the Scottish Football Awards dinner, which was actually very interesting. I quite enjoyed it. It's quite nice going there because usually these black tie functions, mate, you sit at a table and everyone just talks about rugby. I couldn't think of anything worse. So you go there, no one knows anything about rugby, so they don't want to talk to you about it. So it's quite refreshing, actually. Yeah, it's there was some pretty cool people there. It was like obviously the Scottish Premier League one, but the bloke that hosted it was incredible. So that's another thing. I like going to these things to listen to how people run events, because it's something I'll probably transition into after, do a little bit after dinner speaking and stuff like that. Believe it or not, anyone needs me to do an event.
We got a ticker with your fucking phone number on the bottom and your email address.
Yes, please, yeah. But this bloke was so good because every footballer that got up, he just completely rinsed them. It was a lot more loose than I thought it would be. I thought it would be quite serious because it's football and everything's so serious in football. But this bloke didn't give a fuck. He was just tearing everyone to shreds. So no, it was all right. It was a good weekend, actually. Oh, I had luck. The wee man took him go-karting, beat all the kids on the go-kart track. Yeah, I had a very, very busy weekend.
Just quickly, Ryan, do we know if after 13 years of devoted and outstanding service to the Warriors, Franco is going to give you the honour of one last run out in the Glasgow colours?
Well, if you were the coach, right, what would you do?
Pick the best team.
Pick the best team. I'd probably feature on the bench then. I'd get on the bench. He's 6'2" split man. And say there was a 50-50. And you're like, wow, what would you do?
50-50, I pick my boy Rye.
Right, thank you. I'd fucking try and get it out of you somehow. Why?
Because of the legacy, the career. Yeah.
You would have thought so, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
13 years at a club, second most cap all time and last ever game.
Well, no, you say it might be your last one, Ryan. In a couple of weeks, it's the Barbarians versus the Will 15 at Twickenham. You've been doing an amazing podcast with the Barbars, talking to legends of the game. Are you going to be playing in that match, though?
Who's the coach of the Barbarians?
Oh, fucking hell. Eddie Jones, no?
Eddie Jones. Guess who's my best mate? Eddie Jones. So sometimes in rugby, you look back, you realise all the fucking bridges that you've burnt, Wells, come back to bite you in the arse.
What did Joe say? Yeah. Joe put it so eloquently last episode. Don't burn all the bridges.
That was the player that I was. I on the field, I was a different man. And you guys see me off the field. You don't see me on the field. I was at times a cruel man. But
Wills, your legacy will live on because we will continue to be turned down by certain stars because of everything that you've done on a rugby field. So fabulous news.
That's
but
good.
no, let's not. We're not naming people in case we get.
We're not going to talk about the Munster player that was meant to come on today that they wouldn't.
And the media manager was
wouldn't let on.
I know that Ryan Wilson. He's a piece of shit. Don't let him on.
Still fucking up our
media
lives.
Managers around the world just pulling players from our pod.
Right, let's turn to the action from the Premiership semis where unstoppable Saracens put the Saints to the sword, although it wasn't without controversy at start with that. Sean Maitland scoring a couple of tries, your friend Ryan having somehow avoided the sin bin for an elbow to George Furbank's face. Thoughts?
Absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with it. Carry on. Sean's a good boy. He didn't mean it. It was like 30 seconds.
Fucking the good lad. Here we go. The good lad card. Max, you answer it.
I've seen worse ones given a yellow card. The Muay Thai elbows of doom as well, but I could see it not getting awarded as well. So it's one of those ones. But Dicko's just thinking about the sort of consequence of the game that early. Just like yellow, red card that early could be disastrous for the product.
Yeah. Good on you, Dicko. Good on you. Yeah. I'm with him. I genuinely don't think.
Let the boys play.
Let the boys play. Because here you go, look at it these two ways. You either look up at the ball and you got your elbows out and you crack him in the head, or Skux' last minute looked forward and hit him in the head. So it could have been done for that.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter where your head's looking. If you're going up for the ball and last minute you check, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I concur.
Okay, so whether they felt aggrieved or not, Saints actually didn't really fire in the first half at all. There was that strong sort of quarter, but Max, you predicted that they could cause an upset, but were you disappointed by their performance?
Lads, do not listen to Mystic Max. His crystal ball is very cloudy indeed. It was just, Saris were just that breakdown. Unbelievable, especially in D. Benny was all over the place. Likes his ball like he likes his eggs poached. It was, I think they just struggled to get any sort of fluency, like any subsequent phases that you're used to seeing. That Northampton waltz side, fast ball. They weren't getting it with Sarries, that big old pack, and Faz, just IQ, just empirical IQ in the game. So it was tough. It was tough for them.
Who else played rugby at the weekend?
Oh, the game, Sale versus Leicester. Again, it came down to sort of like Georgie Ford on flames, just controlling the game. I think Leicester are going to sort of be a little bit frustrated with themselves that they missed out on two like easy kickouts for some real crucial moments in the game. Set them up for some late scores, more opportunities, but I thought Sale deserved to win. I thought they just had a bit more going on.
You mentioned George Ford being on flames, back to his Imperious best, guiding his team. Well, that's consecutive Prem finals. He obviously guided Leicester to the final last year. Probably about a month since we last brought up the England number 10 conundrum with the World Cup on the horizon. So come on, boys, the final one. Farrell, Ford, Smith.
Just to keep it interesting, I would just go with Marcus Smith. Go with Marcus Smith and have Owen Farrell on the bench. Max, what would you do? What do you want to see as an England fan, Max?
I hate to say it, but the George Ford Owen Farrell axis of like him at 10 and Owen at 12 seems to work very well for England. So I think that's where I'd go. Got them to a final really well. I wouldn't say that was what was dysfunctional about that England team at all in any way.
The thing with Marcus Smith, he's got time on his side, hasn't he? How old's Owen Farrell?
31.
31, shit. A lot of these clubs have a bit of respect for the older players and keep them on, don't they? So.
Again, burning bridges legacy. We talked about this. This ain't the time.
Yeah, it's just a business up here at the end of the day.
That's all it is, mate. We're just cattle, meat.
Yeah, I don't feel like it is for some.
Yeah, but that guy wins so much stuff. Those guys win lots of stuff. All the stuff. He's got like a trophy cabinet just glittering, and George Ford's a winner as well. So like,
will I get a medal next week if we win and I'm not playing?
Yeah, I got one. I got a Challenge Cup winner. I wasn't anywhere near the final. I was stowed away in a Bristol pub with a maimed calf, just staring at the television.
What? And they just brought it back and gave it to you?
Yeah, they were like, "Here, have this. This is yours." Because I played all the games, and then Jonathan and Sinclair got back, and we're just like, "Yeah, you're a terrible tight end." Me and Carl Sink, England Lions. Jonathan.
What? They left. And where was the final?
Cap All Black. We're playing. You're off.
Where was the final?
Marseille, I think.
What? And they didn't even take you down there.
Yeah, even Craner got on there and was lifting up the trophy. He retired last season. he went full Terry on it. I appreciate it so much. I was like, "This, well played. You deserve it."
Do you reckon I just take full kit, take the boots, and just
and just pitching blade, bro? No one's
John Terrier.
Yeah, go full John Terry. Grab that.
No one's going to stop you. You're going to be Minister of Entertainment anyway throughout that match, and if you guys end up fucking winning it, then you could be going on and being like, "Yeah, we've done it. We've done it."
That's a great idea.
You need a John Terry it hard. Actually, if you don't John Terry it, I'll be pissed if you lot win and I don't see you up there in the middle, just raising that giant vase.
Okay, I will try. All right, I will try and get in there. I think maybe kits I blend in. All right. The other option is
get the kit man to sort you out with a full set of kit. That would be more chameleon.
Yeah. Tape up or not tape up?
Oh, head tape would be class, actually.
Just in the stands having a beer. You're on a stag.
Put the lifters on, tape on your lifters, head tape. Oh, I would respect you.
Right, okay. I'll do it for you boys. I'm going to try and do it. I'm going to try and get on there in full kit.
Well, anyway, let's move on from our super secret meeting that nobody's going to hear about ahead of the final and talk about the URC pretty exciting semis that they had. The Stormers ultimately overcoming Connacht, 43-25 at home. Ryan, thrilling 10-try clash. Stormers, though, apart from their 12 points in the last 3 minutes, it was pretty neck and neck, no?
Yeah, well, they were almost polar opposites, the semis, because Munster-Leinster was a tight, gritty affair, as you expected. And, but that one out there, just throwing the ball about, having a good time. Libot, outstanding. Those little crossfields he does, they just keep everyone on their toes. Diamani, outstanding. Stormers can play some rugby, and it looked like they were going to run away at one point, but Connacht just keep themselves within like 6 points. Even to 75 minutes, I think it was. There was only 6 points in it, and you think, right, Connacht could do this. I was quite impressed with the way they stuck in it over there at the Stormers ground, but sadly not. Our old mate Matt Hansen's out. He looks like Wolverine at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah, those chops are class.
How good are they?
They are out there, sensational. Not since Maxi Medard we've seen such fine facial hair. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's a final over at Stormers again because
was there some kind of like post-match like Stormers hype up where they were saying we're going to kill him or something? Like apparently Joseph Dweebert was giving the biggin about playing Munster.
Yeah, I saw that clip going around, them all celebrating like mad. That's because they want a home final. Makes it so much easier for them to play a home final. Listen, it's obviously a bonus that they're not going to get Leinster, but look at Leinster. I think they rested a few players, which was a bit of a shame against Munster, but all credit where credit's due. As hard as it is to say, well done Munster, because 2014, I think it was, the last time they beat Leinster, and then they go and do it in a semi-final like that. They've been the upset, boys. We hadn't lost a game all season at home, albeit we had that red card again. Listen to me making excuses, but they came and beat us on our home patch in the quarters. And the same with Leinster. Leinster have been on top of it in Dublin, pretty much at home for Leinster, and they go and do a job on them. And who knows if they go over to the Stormers and put up a shock. I quite like that, Max? I quite like, as much as it pains me to say it's Munster that's doing it, I like the team that's sort of hovered around the bottom. It shows that Leinster can go and win every game all season, minus one, I think it was, where they threw out an academy team. But if you can't do the business at the end...
Yeah, what's the point? Yeah, I concur. But I was enjoying watching that fallout as well of Leinster losing to Munster. And then everyone's calling for Cullen and Costa's head. I was like, yeah, not really. That's a bit of a reaction. You're a bit emotional right now.
So good.
Kicking straight off. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, fair play, Munster. But I think over there, I can still see the Stormers doing it.
Quick prediction on that final.
Stormers 100, Munster 3.
Ooh, yeah, I'll go Stormers, but I'll say like 35-21 or something.
Yeah, I'll go with that. 35-21.
Yeah, no, the one that's being clipped in is Wilson.
Yeah,
103.
And in the Premiership, there's obviously Saracens beat Sale at home and then went up to Sale and Sale won. There is 0 points difference if you take the two games together.
I said it would be Sarries, Sal. I said it all day long, and I'll tell you what's going to happen. Sarries will win it.
I'm going to go with Sarries as well now after watching them.
In any case, we are delighted to be joined by ex-England international and the second highest scorer in Prem history in Tom Varndell. Tom, welcome onto the pod.
Hey, how you doing, guys? You all right?
Welcome.
Oh, here he is. How you doing, Max?
Yeah, good, brother. You all right?
Yeah, good.
Quickly, Tom, were you gutted your old team, Leicester, couldn't quite hold on in Sale at the weekend?
Yeah, it was a tough game. It was a really tough game. I thought they were going to do it. I thought, the old Leicester would sort of grind out a win somewhere, but fair play to Sale. They were outstanding, weren't they? George Ford pulling the strings as well again. So no, I think it's going to be a big final, massive final. I don't think it's going to go all Saracens' way, but Sale are going to have to step it up again next week.
But who do you reckon? Who have you got? You're a betting man. Who are you putting your money on?
Got Saracens.
Yeah, I would put my money on Saracens. I just think they've been outstanding. And the quality they've got throughout their whole, in every position, they can be tough to beat. But Sale, last time they won out, I was playing that game when they beat Leicester. They've got a young team. They've got some quality throughout their team. But I just think Saracens have just got the edge.
Tom, we mentioned your old team in Leicester. Their winger, Chris Ashton, broke your try-scoring record last season. The face you've just pulled told us a little bit. Be honest, how livid were you when you heard he was coming back to the Prem?
I was gutted. As soon as I found out he was coming back, I just knew the record was going to go a few months later. Like Chris, he's had an unbelievable career. He's a hell of a try scorer. I mean, he's had about 25 clubs to do it, but fair play to him. He's the best finisher in the history of rugby, and now I'm second, bastard.
Do you know him well enough to send him a text? Do you not send him any abuse or?
No, I mean I've never played with Chris. I don't know him that well. I did send a little message out on Twitter just congratulating him when he did it, begrudgingly. Ellis Genge actually called me out on Twitter, so I really had no choice but to congratulate him. But fair play to him. And that record will last for a long time. But was he 102, 103 tries or something like that?
What were you? How many had you scored?
I think I was on 93, and then he smoked that, and then he stayed and got the 100 as well. So he did a proper job.
Any thoughts around if Christian Wade also sort of comes back?
I spoke to Chris a couple of months ago. Obviously, he's doing very well at Racing. I'd love to see him come back to the Premiership. But I think he's getting a decent pack at the moment at Racing. So I wouldn't blame him if he stayed over there. But it'd be nice to see him back in the Premiership. And then I think he's the only one that's close enough to coming back to beat Chris. So and he could do it. He's young enough still. I think Chris is 32 now. So he's still got a couple of seasons left in him. If he came back to the Premiership, I can see him doing it. But it's just whether Chris wants to come back to English rugby at the moment. I think he's enjoying France too much.
Would you put Ashton and Wade into that England team for the World Cup?
I would 100% put Wade in. Chris, probably not now. He is older, and I think there is boys who have earned their right to be in that England setup. But Christian, I still think he's a different level. It's just whether Chris loves rugby enough to want to put his hat in the ring again. He's enjoying the French life. It's a different culture. Chris, for me, I think Chris is always about experiences. He's not necessarily that focused on England. He just wants to enjoy his career, wherever that may be, whether that be NFL. He's one of them players that is quite happy to go and try anything. But I just think he's such a special player. And I can't believe he's only got one cap for England. He should have been one of them ones that got more. But there is some talented boys in the England squad.
Hey, Tom, you do some agency work now?
Yeah, so I set up when I retired from rugby playing, I went into the agency world, which is interesting. I probably chose the worst time to be an agent in rugby because none of the clubs are bloody paying. But I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the mentoring side, looking after these youngsters coming through, obviously giving my experiences and hoping they don't make the same mistakes I made, because I made plenty, and just helping them, I suppose, with their careers, both on and off the field. So it's good fun. It is good fun.
All they want at the end of the day is a pair of free boots, mate.
Exactly. Yeah. Give them an Xbox game and a couple of free pairs of boots, and they're happy. So,
what's your agent like? Is he any good? Oh, he got me free boots. Oh.
Exactly.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's all I got from my agent when I was playing, boots, nothing else. But these guys, they want multi-million-pound endorsement deals. It's like, come on, guys, give me a break.
Tom, quick words on one of your clients, Levi Davis, who very sadly went missing on the 29th of October in Barcelona, hasn't been spotted since. Supposedly owed some Somali criminals like 100 grand, was being blackmailed over a sex tape. Some report he could have drowned actually in the Barcelona port. As his agent, sort of what is going on? What's the latest kind of news?
Honestly, I'm in the dark as much as everybody else. It is the most bizarre situation I've ever, when you go into being an agent, you don't expect to, you thought you just deal with boots and Xbox games. You don't expect to deal with something like this. It's just horrendous. Before Christmas, it was really ramping up. Obviously, the guys were going over to Barcelona. His family went out there. Friends and family were trying to locate him, went to the bars that he was seen at. I spoke to him about a month before he went missing in regards to he was expecting payment from a club that he was at. I sent him over to Australia to bring him play over there. He did very well. He came back and he told me he was going to go to Ibiza to clear his head. I advised him not to do that because I've never known anyone to go to Ibiza to clear their head. And literally, mate, he just dropped off the planet. Like, it's so bizarre. Obviously, the sort of CCTV footage of him leaving the bar. And literally, he's just vanished. We had a couple of calls from the police saying they'd found bodies. And every time, you obviously think this is going to be the news. And it wasn't. It was other bodies. And then this last story about the scene in the water, a bloke sitting that matched his description, but nothing else has come out since. It's so odd. It's so odd. Obviously, you hold out hope, but the longer it goes on, I mean, how can anybody stay under the radar? Like, it's just impossible, especially in this day and age. And in a city like Barcelona, it just doesn't happen. So I literally don't have a clue about what's happened at all. I know there's private investigators still looking at stuff. Obviously, the Spanish police are looking. The English police have been looking and were really good, especially pre-Christmas. But literally nothing. It's so odd.
Well, thank you for that update. But let's focus on your career now. And you obviously won the Prem twice when you were playing at Leicester. Part of a legendary team full of some really big characters back then. Can you tell us a little bit about the celebrations for the wins?
Leicester was it was an unbelievable time in my career. Obviously, I just left school. I got my shot in the first team due to injuries. Pat Howard was the coach then. Dino had just left. And yeah, it was just to be part of that team. That first sort of 3 or 4 years of my career, I think, you know, likes Austin Healy, Leon Lloyd were there, Alessana Tuilagi, Martin Johnson. For me, as a kid growing up, these are people that I'd sort of watched on telly. So to be playing with them in my first year was, you know, it was incredible. And obviously went on and we had won the Premiership against Gloucester in the final, came off the bench in that one. Yeah, and definitely Leicester knew how to celebrate the wins as well, which was good.
Quick word, you mentioned him, Alessana Tuilagi. How dangerous was he on a night out? Did you ever see him involved in any big scraps?
Alessana Tuilagi on a night out. Stay away from him on a night out. Jesus. I remember one time he got so steaming. He was running across the cars down Granby Street. I mean, literally across the cars, and he tripped and fell. And he was there like a little baby in the middle of the field. And these 2 police officers came and picked him up, scooped him up, put him in the back of the van. But Alessana Tuilagi was an absolute nightmare on the piss. Absolute nightmare. And stay as far away from him as possible. I remember after one of the finals, we lost actually to Sale Sharks. So we were all a bit down the dumps. And Alex and Seru had a fight in Welford Road. And it was it was horrendous. And then someone called the police. They came in, threw smoke grenades into Welford Road, took them out, arrested them, and off they went. So yeah, they were wild. Once they went on, when they got a few beers in them, it was an absolute nightmare.
You just don't know their own strength.
Oh,
like one of those blokes that he gives you a little jab when he's had a few beers.
Yeah, and you wake up 2 days later. Yeah, exactly.
What was he like to train with, though? He's obviously just a mountain.
He was fine. He was so chill to train with. Obviously, Leicester used to love their contact sessions every single day. So you'd try not to have Alex in front of you because you couldn't tackle him. He was absolutely massive. But he was pretty chill trainer. Pretty chilled. It's when you got him on the pitch playing a game. He was just unbelievable. Unbelievable player.
In that era, we've got the sort of Julian White, Martin Johnson, Martin Corry, Astra Giovanni.
Yeah.
The real legends of the game. Talk us through the brutality of the Tigers initiation when you joined.
So it's something called the backseat challenge. So if you're a young kid on your first away game, you'd have to take the back seat. And on the back seat, when I did it, Julian White, Lewis Moody, Ben Kay, Martin Corry, Richard Cockrell was sat there. I luckily had Jim Hamilton going up with me. So I went first. Martin Corry laid into me. Lewis Moody was kicking me to death. And then Jim came behind and actually saved me a little bit. But I stupidly hit out at Martin Corry. He was wearing some glasses and he literally pulled out his belt and just started whacking me around there. It was brutal. And I remember just having the biggest welts on my head. I got to the back seat, managed to crawl underneath them all, thought I could leave. And they're like, nah, you're staying here with me. And end up drinking all the way back home from the away game. Absolutely steaming. Richard Cockrell was more steaming than me because as we got out off the bus, they chucked him in a bush. We went in and had our drinks at the stadium and came back out and Richard Cockrell was still in the bush, asleep, snoring. So, yeah, initiations were interesting at Tigers. I remember when I left, eating cat food, having to drink pints of piss, just to punish for leaving the club. But it was one of them environments that, you know, it was insane, but you sort of bought into it because that was what everyone did. And it was fun. You do enjoy yourself, even if you do get the shit kicked out of you most weeks.
Did Big Jim make it to the back of the bus? He reckons he's a scrapper, doesn't he, from Cov?
Yeah, Jim's a scrapper. Jim is a scrapper, and he's about 8 foot tall as well. So, yeah, he made it to the back. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I remember Matt Cornwall didn't make it to the back. Matt Cornwall came after me, and he just got stripped completely naked, beaten up. and chucked back to the front of the bus. But yeah, it was interesting times at Leicester. Completely opposite to Wasps, which are a lot more low key, London boys, naughty boys. But no, but a good bunch of lads, really good bunch of lads. And you had Shaun Edwards leading the charge as well. So yeah, he's an interesting character.
Simon Shaw, was he there?
Yeah, Shawsey was there. Phil Vickery came for a little bit as well. Sackey was there. Sips was there. Haskell was there. Tom Rees. So no, it was a good bunch of lads. A lot of talent in the team, but we just underachieved massively with the squad we had. In terms of enjoyment factor, like I said, it was probably more enjoyable just because it's a lot more low key and not as like old school, I should say. It wasn't nowhere near as brutal as Leicester.
Spartan, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That said, how many players did you see Shaun knock out?
Shaun actually tried to knock me out one time. Shaun never means to try and hurt anybody. It's just his mentality. He's an absolute psychopath. So you're doing like fitness wrestling. You're in a ring and you've got to wrestle. Shaun takes it to the extreme. It becomes a street fight. So you have a fight or you get killed by Shaun. So I remember Shaun, he's on my neck and I stood up and I was like, are you going to get off now? I've made back my feet. No, he keeps going. I think he's trying to choke me out. I'm having to literally press Shaun off me to throw him off me. You've either got to kill the bloke or run away. But yeah, he was an unbelievable coach. He got made head coach and he invented this move where the hooker crossfields it to the winger. It was just an absolute shambles. But he would always try and think outside the box. He was the nicest bloke in terms of socials. He'd come in, he would give all the team money to go on the piss. He was crazy. I remember the first day I got there, he went, 2 things, Tommy, if you want to be successful in rugby. Don't take drugs and don't eat toast. And I was like, okay, Shaun, cheers, mate. Thanks a lot, buddy. And I think at that point, I was like, right, Shaun, you are an absolute nutter. I'll keep you as my coach, but that's it. We will not be socialising outside rugby because you are a lunatic. But no, he's a great guy. And you've seen the success he's had having the moment with France. Like, he is a fantastic rugby coach.
So speaking of socials, Max just had his end of season party at Bristol, but didn't you once receive a weird present when you had a Christmas party at Leicester?
Oh, come on, guys. Really? Yeah, I got given an anal vibrator.
One of them.
Yeah. I mean,
I know all about it.
It was meant to be a joke, but you got to try these presents one or 2 times, 3 or 4 times. So, yeah, it was an anal vibrator. I don't know why I got it. I'd never used an anal vibrator before. I think it was Andy Kuhn that got it for me, actually, when we were at Wasps.
I'm sure it was an anal vibrator, wasn't it? A toothbrush or anything like that?
It might have been a toothbrush. It
was an electric toothbrush.
The Oral B.
It went up my arse, so I hope it was an anal vibrator, not a toothbrush.
Have you still got it, Tom? Have you got it there?
No, it broke. It broke. Snapped it in my arse.
Tom, let's talk about Leicester. You burst onto the scene immediately. You scored the fastest hat-trick in history in just your second game. A year later, you're the top scorer in the Prem. You then go on to win the Commonwealth Games in Brisbane, playing for England Sevens. You scored 3 tries in your opening 4 games for England 15s. These are some amazing stats for you that I'm sure you know. But how on earth did you then end up within a couple of months being loaned out to Bedford in the Championship and never playing for England again?
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough. And I think it was like, look, I was a young, cocky little sod. And I think it was Leicester's way of almost just saying, right, yeah, you've done this, but you're still a young kid. My form did drop. After the Australia tour with England, my confidence took an absolute battering. I got absolutely torn to shreds by Lottie Takiri in that second test. And confidence was low. And then I came back to Leicester, did the pre-season, wasn't playing particularly well. And it was Pat basically pulled me aside, look, we're going to give you a loan opportunity to go and get your form back. And I went away and I played well for Bedford, but playing the Championship and playing the Premiership it's very, very different. And then after 2 weeks, I did come back and I was playing okay. And then Jono had just taken over as England coach and he called me and said, look, you're not starting for Leicester. We can't justify picking you into the international squad, so you've been dropped from there. So it was literally like hit after hit. And I think it took me about a year to get over it, if I'm honest, and rebuild my confidence. And I think I left Leicester after that and then went to Wasps and, played well at Wasps. But it was just that period. And if you're out of the England picture for a couple of months, there's always someone going to come in and take your space. And I think it was Dylan Armitage that got called up for me. and Dylan went on and I think got about 30 caps. So it was just one of those things. Like form dipped, timing was terrible for me, and just didn't really recover. And then I think it wasn't until 2009, 2010, got called back on an England tour, went to New Zealand, took an absolute bomb squad, got pumped, and it was just one of those things, unfortunately. And yeah, there's so many quality rugby players out there, and if you're not on form, then someone's going to come and take your spot, and that's what happened.
But you did say that it sort of pushed you to join Wasps, in effect, which you've come out and said were some of the happiest days of your life at any club. Talk us through some of those happy moments. You know, you had Chris Wade, you mentioned Danny Cipriani. What sort of good value on a night out? Yeah, great value on a night out. Some really good experiences. Like, you know, living in London it's very different to living in Leicester. There's a lot more to do. You know, I went in as a more of a senior player rather than the young kid I was at Leicester. So that helped myself give him more of a leadership role and mentoring the likes of Wadey and seeing him develop his game, and then obviously being wing partners with him. Yeah, it was great, and we had some great socials. Like it was, and you know, rugby. Yes, you want to be at the top of the game. You want to play for the British Lions. You want to play for your country, but you want to enjoy what you're doing. And I certainly enjoyed what I was doing at Wasps. And you know, we had some good times on the pitch. I had a young family as well, and it was nice to bring them up in that area. My family mum and dad were closer to me as well because they were based in Oxford. So like it was a fucking good time. And going out in London is a different level as well. Expensive, but a different level. And some of the socials were good. And I was social secretary as well, so I could organise them. And we did, you know, pub golf. Went to the church when it was going, and yeah, it was good. Yeah, a lot of nights out in Clapham. So,
I remember the church. Really important question then. Was Cipriani going out to Kelly Brook at the time? Did you meet her?
Yes, I did. I met her on a Churchill Cup, actually. Lovely girl. No, Danny. Danny's partners were exceptional. Top rate.
My favourite was the cheeky girl.
Yeah. I wasn't playing with Danny when that happened, but I did hear about the cheeky girl.
Oh, cool. Tom, you got to compete for a shirt with Paul Sackey week in and week out. Apparently an amazing character, but the worst trainer in the history of rugby. Is that correct?
I've never known a man hate rugby as much as Paul Sackey. And I would train all bloody week, and Paul would then rock up on a Friday and get named in the team. I was like, you bastard. I remember him training. He'd go out, he'd put his hand out the door. He goes, it's fucking raining. I'm not training today. And he wouldn't train. So everyone else would do all his reps for him, and then on Friday he would get picked, and I'd be like, "You bastard!" But no, he's a character. He's a good bloke to have around, good bloke to have in your team, and he literally doesn't give a shit either. Like he just didn't care about training or anything like that. And then you play awesome at the weekend. No, he was quality.
What's best social you ever had at Wasps?
Well, the church was good. Really, really good.
Can you explain the church, sorry, quickly? Because for those who've never gone past Clapham on a 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, church basically was you start in the morning, you go in, all the windows are blacked out, so it's like a nightclub. And you start drinking early morning, you go all the way through to about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you'd be let out onto the street, absolutely steaming. And it'd be like Dracula coming out of his coffin, literally like, what the hell's going on? And then you go onto the ship. But it was just one of those places where just absolute mayhem was kicking off inside. And then you come out to a full street, mums pushing their push chairs, people doing their daily shop. And then you got like 50, 60 lads coming out, absolutely steaming. It was just a great social. And it was always Sunday as well. So yeah, it was good fun. I organised a pub golf actually through Chiswick once, and we had one guy, Matt Everard, who is coaching at Leicester now. I think he's forwards coach. He was a non-drinker, and so I gave him different options to drink. And then the final pub, we had this stuff called ghost pepper chili, and I didn't read the label, and you only meant to have 2 drops, and that was enough to feed like a family of 10. But I gave him a shot of it, and he backed it back because obviously peer pressure. And within 10 minutes, literally steam is coming off his head. We've had to call the ambulance because he's burnt the lining of his stomach. He's had to go and get his stomach pumped at the social. I felt so bad. So bad. He's not been the same since, poor guy. He's got IBS for life.
And now he drinks every day.
Yeah, now he drinks, exactly. Turned him to alcohol. Yeah. They were always memorable socials at Wasps. It was good fun.
Tom, take us through your post-Wasps career.
After Wasps, I went to Bristol. I was at Bristol for 2 years. And I probably, if I can go back, I wouldn't have done that. Because I signed for, obviously I left Wasps, they moved into Coventry. I didn't want to move to Coventry. Moved to the southwest. Thought it'd be like a change of lifestyle, get out of London. And they were meant to get promoted that year, and they didn't. They missed out. They lost in the final. So obviously going from a Premiership setup to a Championship setup, it was just like, oh my God, like what have I done? And it was a tough year, because I think that step down into the Championship and playing the likes of, I think Moseley was in that league. Obviously in Premiership, you're literally treated like a king. You've got your own change room, own toilets, own shower. These ones, you're literally out there with the supporters. So at half time, you're going for a toilet, and there's someone next to you with his pint on the cubicle, and he's like, "Oh, enjoying the game." I'm like, "Not really." It's an absolute. You've got people walking their dogs. I remember one time stepping in dog shit on the pitch because the pitch was in literally a recreational area for kids. So yeah, it was interesting, definitely character building. And for me, I didn't enjoy Bristol. I mean, it's a great club now and where it is and what they're doing. But it was just a bad move for me. It was a bad move. Didn't enjoy it. And then I went to France, which got even worse.
Whereabouts?
A team called Angoulême. It's about 45 minutes to an hour from Bordeaux. And I didn't do my research before. I think I was just so desperate just to get out of Bristol and try something different. My agent said, "Oh, we've got this club here," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll take it." They're offering you a 4-year deal. It's like, brilliant. That'll see me through to the end of my, playing days. Literally, it was fucking horrendous. Like horrendous. Me and my missus and the little one drove down. Obviously crossed over at Calais, took all our stuff. Got there, the house wasn't ready, so we ended up checking into an Ibis budget hotel where it looked like it was designed for someone who'd wet the bed. The plastic mattress. There was a child's bed that went over it like a bridge over the main bed. Turned on the water tap, brown water came out. It was like, fuck me, what have I done? I think it was the last time I cried, actually. It was horrendous. I just what have I done? Apologised to my missus. I text the coach saying, what's going on in the house? And he goes, "You've got to be at the bus in half an hour. We're going on the pre-season tour." I'm there going, well, what the fuck am I going to do with my family? So I had to put them back on a flight that afternoon. And then I went off for a week in the forest, and it was just fucking horrendous. And you're only allowed to take a sleeping bag. And I didn't have a sleeping bag. I only had a duvet. So I took myself in this frigging duvet, sleeping on the floor of the forest, ants crawling all over me. I had Leo Halibutau snoring next to me. And it was just like, fuck my life. Like, this is hell. And it just got progressively worse from then. It was just hell. So after 6 months, I came back for Christmas and I didn't go back. I was just like, I can't do it. I just can't do it.
What's the name of the club I'm actually looking for at the moment?
please don't go there. I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
I'm desperate.
You're not that desperate. Just me.
Tom, you then came back?
Yeah, I came back and I actually texted Jordan Murphy because I knew Johnny May had been injured. And Geordie's, yes, had come down. I was there for about 3 months, played a couple of games. It was nice to be back at a club I knew, back in that sort of professional environment. And then I got a call from Hong Kong and they said, would like to come over and play a few games in the Rapid Rugby, which they were trying to. Twiggy from Western Force was setting up his own tournament. And I was like, sign me up. So I went out there for 6 months, played 3 games in 6 months, and they put me in an apartment in Wan Chai. So I literally had 6 months playing 3 games, training, basically dossing about basically in Hong Kong. Salary was decent. And yeah, just had a great time. It was just another great experience.
Tom, please describe what Wan Chai is to the rest of the world.
Wan Chai is basically the party capital of Asia. I think outside of like Thailand, it is like it's insane. It's insane. It's like it never stops. You can go out at 5 o'clock in the evening and you come back at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's just like it's just unbelievable. And obviously, you get some interesting characters over there who I was playing with, and they'd been over there for a couple of years. Some of these players, and they completely just acclimatized to Hong Kong life. So rugby was definitely playing second fiddle to everything else over there. I was out there for the Hong Kong Sevens, and it was just insane. It was unreal.
And who were you playing for?
A team called South China Tigers, which was effectively the Hong Kong national team. So we were, it was good. It was good.
It was real good.
Real good. I think if I hadn't have come back after 6 months, I would have died. So it was It was a good job that it was only a 6-month contract.
Sounds like a dream. I'm actually,
good.
I'm envious. So, and sorry, just name that team again. I'm just making a note of the clubs that go together.
South China Tigers. I'm in too.
Right, there you are. I'll be on the phone to them later.
Definitely go there.
Well, Tom, you know, you're an agent. You've got your finger in a lot of pies. Where's Ryan going next season?
Yeah, I'm going there.
South China Tigers, mate. I'll get it sorted. No,
3 games of rugby, 6 months, 1 shy. That is
That's
me.
quite literally made for Wilson.
Yeah, it'll be perfect. I'll put some calls in. No, I mean, look, if we just going a little bit serious. Like, if you look at rugby at the moment, it is an interesting market. It is a bit crazy. Obviously, in the news about London Irish, Wasps, Worcester going bang. Like, there isn't that many clubs out there. Like, then there's a lot of players. It's tough at the moment. If you're not under contract, it's quite a scary place to be if you want to play professional rugby. So I'm really hoping that the RFU pull their finger out a little bit and start sorting stuff out, because, you know, it's such a great game and it's just nowhere near where it used to be. 5, 6, 7 years ago, it's gone down, and it should be really up there. It should, you know, it's not going to be on the same level as football ever, because, you know, football's a different level completely. But rugby, it shouldn't be where it is at the moment. It is pretty tough times.
Tom, could we get your ultimate 15 of players you've played with and or against?
Loose head, Marcus Iertza, who we've already mentioned, Argentinian, played with him at Leicester Tigers, ultimate professional, and hardly ever got injured. Like, he's unbelievable. Real talented bloke. My hooker would be George Shooter. He's a great character, great club man as well at Leicester Tigers. Julian White would be my tight head prop. Absolute psychopath. You'd never ever want to, you know, piss off Julian. He's a very quiet bloke, but he's one of them guys that could be very unapproachable, but just an unbelievable player. Number 4, Martin Johnson. He was my first captain at Tigers. Obviously, Martin Johnson speaks for himself. He was just unreal. Simon Shaw would be my other lock. Man mountain and a great bloke on and off the pitch. Number 6 was Tom Croft. I think he's probably one of the best athletes I've ever seen on a rugby pitch. I actually think he beat me on a couple of sprints as well. He was just so talented, and just an unbelievable athlete. Number 7 was Tom Rees. He was one of my captains at Wasps. His career got cut short quite soon, but he would have gone on to be, you know, captain of England and probably got about 100 caps. He was a very talented boy. James Haskell would be my number 8. Terrible banter, like an absolute shithouse, but in terms of his work ethic and the way he played on the pitch, he was just unbelievable. Joe Simpson would be my number 9. I think he's one of the most talented scrum halves to play the game. Didn't get many England caps, but absolutely lightning quick. Just such a talented boy. Like, really, really good, and a really nice bloke as well. Andy Good would be my number 10. Physically was in the worst condition, looked like a melted welly. But in terms of his skill set, he had one of the best pass services in the game, and his kicking game was unreal. Plus, he put me in for my first try for Tigers. So, no, he was so talented. And then in the back, Scott Lottie Takiri, who shoved my head up my own arse during the Australia match. And he was one of my idols growing up, and he was just a hell of a player. Aaron Major would be my number 12. The most skillful player I've ever played with. Great player. Matthew Tate would be my number 13. I played with Tatey all the way through, like, age group stuff, known for a long time. And again, I think he didn't get as many England caps as he should have. But he's so professional, works so hard off the pitch and on the pitch. And then number 14 would be Alessana, who we've already spoke about earlier on. Again, just an incredible player, like, devastating with the ball in hand. And he was almost impossible to stop when he was on his day. Jordan Murphy would be my number 15. I mean, Jordan was just quality, both on the international stage and at club level. Bit of a mentor for me. And yeah, it was just a fantastic player.
Fabulous stuff. Let's finish off now with our quick fire round. So, first thing that comes into your head, the best player you've ever played with?
Jordan Murphy.
Best player you've ever played against?
Lottie Takiri.
Biggest fight you witnessed in training?
Oh, Alessana versus Lewis Moody.
Talk us through it.
playing a game of touch, and Alex has got touched about 25 times, but he's carried on running. He's gone to score a try, and Lewis Moody's just come out of nowhere and absolutely belted him in the back of the head. It all erupts, crazy, and then Martin Johnson grabs hold of Lewis, knocks him clean out. It was horrendous. Horrible.
What are you doing at this point?
I'm about 50 meters away on the other side of the pitch. I don't move a muscle. I'm just there like, oh my God. I'm like 19 years old going, what have I just witnessed? Game of touch at Tigers was never a game of touch.
3 players with you to the biggest party of your lives.
Ooh, Christian Wade, Danny Cipriani, and Luke Narrowway. Loose.
And the one player you've never met that you're sure you could be best friends with?
Ooh, Alex Good. I played against him, but I don't know him personally. So yeah, Goody. Seems like good fun.
And finally, a player who's rubbed you up the wrong way in your career?
Chris Ashton. I'll say no more. Chris Ashton.
Have it.
Well, sadly, that is all the time we've got left for this week. Huge thank you to Tom for taking us through his stellar career. And thanks again to Max and to Ryan and to you all for listening and watching. And we will see you all next week.